Continuing this mini-series on chord-based licks, let's see how we can apply the idea of the movement from minor to major to licks based on the C shapes. Remember that at the core of this idea is the knowledge that it's the third note in the key that basically determines the difference between minor and major. Now in the last sound bite we used the E shape and A shape bar chords as our point of departure. But when it comes to the C shape, rather than using a bar chord, I generally find it's easier to think of the movable C7 shape as our main reference. Here's the detail of this shape. The numbers telling you where in the parent major scale each of these notes comes. Notice the shape contains 2 root notes and there is no 5th note in this fingering. As the 5th note is one of the notes that comes in useful when forming chord-based licks, it helps to know how to access it from the notes of this shape. And as the main trick that we're focusing on in these lessons is that movement from minor to major, it also helps to locate the flatted third notes that we can access from this shape too. So in this version of the diagram, I've marked in the 5th on the 3rd string and the most obvious flat third just behind the major third on the 4th string. But notice I've also picked out the flat third an octave higher on the 2nd string. So we'll start out by experimenting with the thirds here on the 4th string, and we'll use this E7th chord, so that's the C7th shape rooted at fret 7 on the 5th string. Using a slide or a hammer-on from the minor third to the major third, we can then form a number of licks by bouncing off the upper root note or the lower root note. We can also include the 5th here as well. Batch of licks here that sort of end on the minor third, but then at this last moment just bend it to major like this. So the idea here really is we start on the minor to major, then really do almost anything we like with the octave or the 5th, and end up back on the minor and then bend it at the last second. Work a fret higher, effectively leaving the 5th out of things, we can bring in the flat 7th note and the higher flatted 3rd note. Notice for both the minor 3rd and the flat 7th, I tend to bend them up just a semitone to their major counterparts this point you may like to just pause the video and have a go at developing a few of these licks yourself. Once you feel you've familiarised yourself with a few ideas based on that C7 shape, then move on to the last part of this lesson. Now, to recap briefly, in the last soundbite we developed a few ideas based on E shapes, A shapes, and then in this little lesson so far we've been working on the C shapes. Now, with just these three groups of ideas we should be able to begin working on some freely improvised 12-bar blues, just as a means of integrating the ideas together. For example, thinking in the key of A here, let's use our E-shaped ideas over the 1 chord, our A-shaped ideas over the 4, and the C7th shaped ideas over the 5th. Watch carefully and see if you can see how this all works out. To use the chords as well, but I think it helps to sort of keep you in the framework when you're starting out. Possible variations on this idea. For example, nothing says you shouldn't use the C7th as our number 1 chord, so we're now in the key of E. And then the E shapes over the A chord. Our 4th chord, and then slip down here with the A shape for our 5th chord. Next lesson we'll look at a couple of ideas based on the D shape, and we'll also look at integrating all these ideas into other types of chord sequences. But meanwhile, starting with the 12-bar blues sequence that we've just been working on is great preparation for that. So I'll leave you to explore and to practice. If you found this little video interesting, please click on the like button if there is one, or leave a comment. And do feel free to share the video with your friends. And if you'd like to gain full access to all our guitar teaching materials, please visit the Secret Guitar Teacher site and take a free look round at what's available there. See you again soon.